Switching topics, what do Kenyans watch on television? First by genre, what are the most popular genres of television programme?
Well, it's quite interesting when we when we break it down into three facets. So first being the local programs, the second international programs, and the third African programs. We find that the local programs tend to have it's 52% of the time. The stations allocate about 52% of their time to local programs. The share of viewing is at 60% for local programs. So it shows that there is quite a bit of potential. There still is potential for local programs.
So just to emphasise, that means that 52%, but that's including news, is local programming.
Yes, that's including news. Now when you look at the genres, you find that news tends to be the highest viewed in terms of share of viewing. This is followed by soap operas, and then we see dramas.
And soap operas will include the Latin American telenovelas.
Yes, indeed. In fact, the soap operas are the Latin American telenovelas, the Filipino telenovelas. Those are very, very popular. And one of the reasons for that is it appears that family viewing, right now, family viewing is what stations would really like to get. That way you increase your share of viewing, you increase your reach and your ratings, and the advertisers will then buy advertising in your stations. So we see that we have what we call an entertainment corridor between two news bulletins, one at 7 o'clock and one at 9 o'clock. And between that, there's usually what we call an entertainment corridor. Local programming and soap operas, very popular at that particular time. And the stations that are able to have a good schedule of those two will tend to have that. We're seeing ratings growing. Now, another type of other genres that are increasing is gospel music and gospel content, which is doing extremely well on Sunday mornings. And previously, there was hardly any.
These are the evangelical Christian shows.
Yes,
early morning
Christian shows. What they do is they have a lot of music, a lot of gospel music. They have a DJ, things like a DJ in-studio DJ show with studio guests, and then they have a broadcast of a Sunday morning sermon from one of the evangelical churches, and this seems to be extremely popular on a Sunday morning. We're also seeing the African content, Nigerian movies and Bongowood movies, beginning to pick up. And
explain for our viewers what Bongowood is.
Bongowood is the movie industry in Tanzania.
Okay.
Yeah, out of Bongo Flava, which is
the music. Yes,
the Tanzanian music, and we're seeing quite a bit of this, picking up in popularity. Most of it is aired during the day and off peak after 10 o'clock at night. But we are seeing an increase in viewership for it. So, African content is increasing in popularity as well.
And what particular programs would you pick out as ones that have been very successful in attracting audiences? Which local ones?
Well, we see that the local programs that Citizen TV put a bet on previously, including Tahiti High, which is based on a high school. Inspector Mwala, which is based on a police station, and Papa Shirandula, which is based on a security guard, a story around a security guard. Basically what we call the local dramas have done extremely well and are continuing to grow. We also have, should I say, current affairs and satire with Churchill Live on NTV.
It's a talk show.
It's a talk show, sort of Jay Leno type, with a bit of comedy, a bit of stand-up comedy, live studio guests, a live studio audience as well. And that's picked up in popularity tremendously, especially in the urban areas. And so that's the kind of content that seems to be standing out. And it's the challenge is they tend to be expensive. And during the recent Broadcast and Film Africa conference, most producers were talking about the cost of their productions and the unwillingness by media houses to give them a fair price for it. So there is quite a big challenge there.
There's a big gap, isn't there?
There is a big gap. Yeah. Yes.
So, what do you watch on television? I know you watch as a professional, but what's your personal favourites?
Well, my personal favourites are some of the international shows, as it were. I do. I watch. I don't watch a lot of series, but when I find one that I like, that's what I'll watch it, and I'll be quite loyal to it, including West Wing, which is now out of which is not being aired anymore. Mad Men, which is based on the advertising industry, because I do have a passion for the advertising industry. And when you look at some of the local programs, I do enjoy Churchill Live. I think Churchill Live is actually one of those shows that's a real groundbreaking show for Kenya, and for Africa at large.
And in terms of sport, football is always held up as the great popular thing. Is how gendered is football viewing?
Well, I mean, it's football is the most popular sport in Kenya from a study that we've carried out, and it's also the most viewed. And what tends to it does have a quite a strong male skew. Even though you do find there is some proportions of ladies that are watching soccer. So and soccer, when we have the World Cup, soccer is it really boosts the ratings of the particular station that airs the World Cup. What we're seeing here is mainly the English Premier League, and most people will be watching the English Premier League, whether it's on DSTV, and mostly out of home. In
bars and restaurants.
Bars and restaurants,
yeah.
Yes.
Joe, thanks for talking to me today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Russell.